Hi, my name is David Reben, and I'm going to today walk you through something that a lot of Enagic distributors don't understand. And that is the necessity of maintaining a very clean Enagic machine. It doesn't matter what make or model or brand of water ionizer you might have, you've got to keep it clean. And what happens is that it has several electrical plates in here that utilize an electrolysis function, and doing so, minerals will cling to the plates and they'll become very, very adhered to that. So we need to keep it constantly cleaned off. And Enagic is the gold standard amongst water ionizers. And what this machine does is it utilizes what we call the e-cleaner system. It is something that Enagic has put together for us, and it allows us to do repeated cleanings as often as we'd like for about $1.25 each time. If you live in an area where you have real hard water, which is most of the United States, it should be cleaned every couple weeks. And if you live in an area like the Northwest, here where I live, and our water tends to be softer, it may not be necessary maybe but every 3 weeks, and maybe every 4 weeks if you're not using much water. But a lot of us give away water. We share it with people, friends and family and loved ones, and so we go through a lot of it. I personally clean mine every 2 to 3 weeks. I'm going to show you today how that's done. Sometimes it's confusing, but it's a very simple process. The first thing we'll do is we're going to take the side cover plate off of the machine right here, and when we open that, we'll expose the carbon block filter. There's a little ring at the bottom here. It's called the lock ring, and I'm going to slide that to the left, and that unlocks the base from which I will lift this off. You'll notice here there are 2 black O-rings, and those O-rings need to be on there. If they're not, they will be stuck inside their housing. So you'll need to get those off and put them back on before we proceed further. From that point, we're going to take the e-cleaner, which is this unit. You'll find that with your product kit when you originally received it. And we're going to put 1 packet of e-cleaner solution. It's a citric cleaner. We're going to tear off the top, and we will simply put that package contents into the e-cleaner. Now, I use a full package each time I clean it. That may or may not be necessary to the process. It might be that you get 2 cleanings out of 1 packet, but at $1.25 and the value of the machine, I believe it's worth it to not take a chance. So then we'll put this, spin it back on the top of this. You'll notice it also has a footing at the bottom with black O-rings, and that will put in place where the carbon block filter would typically go. The lock ring goes back atop, and then we'll lock that down. Now, a very important step that I probably should have done before we even started that was to unplug the machine. I'll turn it off, and then I'm going to reach back here and I'm going to unplug it. So there's absolutely no chance there will be any electrics going on. And that is one of the first things you'll see when you get your machine, is that when you clean the machine, you have to unplug it. I have watched one person fail to do that, and they destroyed their electronics. Enagic, of course, can fix that because these machines are fixable in every respect, but it was a very unfortunate situation for her. So now what we're going to do is we're going to run the water through it for about 8 seconds. Just flow of water without electronics. And what that's doing is it's dispersing the citrus cleaner throughout the plates. And you can taste it if you're curious. It tastes terrible when it's through there. So that's been probably 8 seconds. And now what we'll do is we'll take the bottom hose here, which is the gray hose, the acid hose, the output, and we're going to put it inside of a container. And we're also going to put the top hose, the drinking water hose, inside that same container, way down here at the bottom, so that the water, as it comes out due to the drop from gravity and the air pockets that release inside the machine, it will continue to form a continuous circuit by filling the bottom of this container. Now, an alternative to that, if you don't want to deal with a container, is you can put a 3/8 inch flexible tube on there. And it's something that I have started doing, and some of us do. You simply put one end on that hose, plugs right on, and the other end on this hose. Now you might have to remount one end a little bit to get it on this flexible hose, but once it's there, it's a little easier than dealing with this container. So we'll just get rid of that. And now what we're going to do is just simply walk away for 3 to 5 hours. Some people will use it overnight. They'll go to bed, wake up in the morning, and finish the process. But that is all that's required. After the 3 to 5 hours pass, we're going to come back and we're going to take the lock ring off, take this out, perhaps rinse it, and that's going to get back in the box for another day's usage. And from that point, we'll put the carbon block filter back in, lock it down with the O-ring, and we're going to then run water through the machine until we get purple water once more. And that may be 3 or 4 minutes of run time. After that, turn it back on. Well, it's already on if you're checking for purple water, and you're not going to hurt it at that point. The very final step would be to put your black casing back on. And the last thing I like to do is I will take a pen and I will record what the date was. And you'll notice here I do every 2-3 weeks. And we like to have that date on there so you know when it needs to be cleaned once more. And that is all we're going to show right now. There'll be more of these coming. Thank you. All right, it's been about 5 hours now, and so we're going to go ahead and walk you through the demonstration of how to put it back together. I referenced how to do it, but we didn't actually do it, so this time we're going to go clear through it. And by the way, you can leave this off while it's sitting if you'd like. It's an indication to people around that might use it, might turn it on accidentally or something, that it's in its cleaning process. So set that aside. Now we're going to take this lock ring once more off. So we'll unlock it, lift it out of there, lift the E-cleaner off, and again our little black O-rings are on there, so that's good. I usually pop it open, dump it out, and that way it can dry for the next usage and not just sit wet in the box. And our filter, our carbon block filter, is going to go back on now. The lock ring over the top, drops down, and then twist it to the right, and that locks in place. Now we can put the cover back on. And unplug our tube, or take it out of the bowl it had been in. And we're free to plug it back in. Again, it tells us our ID number when we turn it on, or when we first plug it in. We can turn it on.
Power on. Kangen water 9.5.
Now it still has all of that citrus cleaner in there at this point. So we don't want that. We want to make sure that that is cleaned out, so we're going to turn the water flow on.
Kangen water 9.5.
And we're going to test it using our water drops. You're probably familiar with those. We use these little red tubes supplied by Enagic, or you can get them at a pool supply house, a backyard store, something like that that deals with swimming pool pH, hot tubs. We're going to have a cup, and we're just going to take samples of our water until it turns purple. So here we have only been letting it run for a few seconds, and you'll notice that it's yellow. That means that's acidic water. It still has cleaner on it, that's citric acid. And as a few minutes go by, we can do it again. Now you'll notice the pH color has changed. It's now a blue. Try it again. The same color still blue. We're looking for water that's purple. That's what's going to be most beneficial for our health, for our family, for people with whom we're sharing water, for the extenuation of business. When somebody comes over and gets water from you, they want to have that good purple water that we talk about so often. I dumped that out and I saw on the bottom of the sink that it was purple, so I'm thinking that we're probably producing some pretty good purple water now. And there we go. So that is probably about enough. Sometimes it's hard for the camera to pick it up what color it is, but that water is good and purple now. You can see it well against white. In any case, that's very purple water. So we are now done, and we can start to drink this water. We can feel free and good about it, sharing it with people. And this is the kind of water that we all know is going to bring health and healing to the body, and energy, and better sleep. There's so many things that this water does. And if you're used to working around it and sharing it with people, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So from that point, we're going to turn it off. We're going to consider ourselves having cleaned it again for another 2 weeks or 3 weeks or however long based on where you live. And the only thing that I would suggest in between there for maintenance is that we often will run the beauty water, the yellow button. And we'll do that every couple days and just let it run for a few seconds. What that does is it reverses the polarity inside the machine, and it functions as a cleaning method. It's not nearly as effective as that deep citric clean we just put it through, but it is very good for every 2 to 3 days to do that for 2 or 3 minutes. And that was a little faster than normal, but we just brought it back for examples purposes. And we're now again making good drinking water. And make sure you're doing this. Make sure you teach anybody that you might share this machine with to do that. If you don't know where to get the cleaning packets, they are available through Enagic.com, or if you're local in the area and I work with you directly, I supply these kind of things for people. I have a what I call my Kangen closet, and it is where people can come and get anything they might need. And so contact me directly, or I order it directly from Enagic. And I wish you good health.